Marjorie Taylor Greene released a book today. It's the first book she's ever written or read, and it's called MTG. It's got Jewish space lasers, and of course, Marge's famous recipe for gazpacho police and a peach tree dish.
President, you mark, for Congress, that would be me. They marked Donald Trump, and they marked who they were voting for the rest of the way.
Did you know that according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, 100% of people who read her book become instant political experts? Okay, we made that up, but it's not far off from the actual claims in her new book, MTG. Jimmy Kimmel's got the real scoop, and it's even wilder than our fake statistic. In this video, we're fact-checking Greene's most outrageous claims, from voting machine conspiracies to her thoughts on what makes people gay. Spoiler alert, none of it stands up to scrutiny, but don't worry, we're serving it all up with a healthy side of Kimmel's signature humor, ready to laugh and learn. Have you heard of a conspiracy theory that was unintentionally spawned by a cookbook? Marjorie Taylor Greene's new book will take you on an exhilarating journey into the mind of America's favorite political chef. Right-wing talking points, recipes, and tinfoil hats seem to have been thrown into a tornado and spun out of this book. The author of MTG's masterpiece, MTG's Kitchen Nightmares, cooking up chaos in Washington.
It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some revisionist history. It's got some conspiracy theories. Marjorie Taylor Greene released a book today. It's the first book she's ever written or read, and it's called MTG.
Oddly blends political tirades with cookery tips. She goes on to describe the deep state's clandestine use of space lasers to control the weather after disclosing her top secret Freedom Fries recipe. A cooking demonstration seems to be continuously disrupted by chemtrails. The huge discrepancy between her political views and culinary suggestions is just astounding. One of the recipes she gives you in one chapter is for a perfectly crisp quesadilla. Her theory regarding the influence of the lizard people in the Senate is explained in the one that follows. She seems to be trying to fulfill your appetite and your paranoia at the same time.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, not a bright woman. She says very stupid things on a daily basis, but
among her most outrageous claims in the book are that avocado toast is a liberal plan to destroy the economy and that veganism is a prelude to communism. She also suggests that the main reason millennials are unable to buy homes is because of their preference for pricey olive oils. In MTG's universe, the housing disaster is caused by extra virgin olive oil, not corporate greed, I guess. The problem is that combining entertainment value with inaccurate information is not a smart concept. It would be like trying to hide a conspiracy theory pill inside a delicious handmade dessert. Those who come for the recipe ideas could leave with the impression that the place is operated by a bunch of reptiles that like arugula.
Did she need to write a book? Couldn't we have given her some crayons and a Denny's placemat?
The book isn't exactly jumping off the shelves at the New York Times. To put it gently, it has been called a culinary catastrophe and a recipe for disaster. It was like reading a cookbook written by your conspiracy theorist uncle who believes the moon landing was fake. According to one assessor, her foray into culinary law enforcement will turn your perspective of MTG's cookbook around. There are clear cold soup and totalitarian aims. Greene replies,
more than you might expect. This verbal jargon may be the first of many political blunders. Not content to just mix conspiracies and recipes, Marjorie Taylor Greene expanded her word salad to include law enforcement. MTG accidentally brought a bowl of gazpacho police when she meant to say Gestapo when discussing the Capitol Police. As if trying to make a deep point, she was given a cup of cold Spanish soup instead of a Nazi secret police squad.
When the internet can absorb this error, who needs a good joke? Pass the croutons. Memes that went viral immediately included fake wanted posters for armed and delicious soup criminals and photoshopped bowls of gazpacho onto police uniforms. For days, the internet was overflowing with jokes and puns.
It's got Jewish space lasers and, of course, Marge's famous recipe for gazpacho police and a peach tree dish.
But as Greene's soupy mistake illustrates, politicians frequently find themselves unable to voice their opinions. Do you remember when Dan Quayle tried to spell potato but ended up using an extra E instead? Think back to when Bush told us to put food on your family instead of attending to our personal needs. Voters may be offended by these speech errors, even though they might not seem dangerous at first. According to experts, such linguistic blunders can seriously harm a politician's trust. It makes guests question if you're not confident in your cooking abilities when they expect a gourmet meal and receive a microwave supper instead. Additionally, since these blunders are constantly rehashed and promoted, politicians find it more difficult to clean their palates in the era of social media. Will this end horribly in a certain way? All you need for success is a little pressure, some challenging material, and a little public speaking. The possibility of a verbal altercation between you is imminent. As soon as it occurs, you can be sure that everyone will be riveted to their phones, attempting to record every minute detail. In terms of doubling down, MTG's most recent battle against voting technology is much more important than her gaffe on gazpacho. Have you ever considered the consequences if a politician accused your toaster oven of being involved in electoral fraud? In this story of technology gone crazy, be prepared for some particularly crispy moments. Marjorie Taylor Greene has moved on to the world of voting machines after successfully confusing everyone with her thoughts about secret police and soup. According to her assertions, the voter in issue had some extremely unsettling experiences with a Dominion voting machine in Whitfield County, Georgia. Evidently, this sad soul's votes for herself and Trump began to mysteriously change as the ballots were being created. It seems like the voting system surreptitiously decided to...
And so when this voter printed their ballot and they looked, it had changed. And each voter has to review that printed copy to make sure that it has selected the candidate.
Alter the results to reflect the opposite day scenario. The hitch is that a paper copy of the ballot can be created after voters make their selections on Dominion voting machines.
Someone posted up that when they went to vote in Whitfield County here in Georgia's 14th district, now remember, we're a swing state, president, you mark, for Congress, that would be me, they marked Donald Trump, and they marked who they were voting for the rest of the way, everyone to vote in my district. And so they went to vote, and we have the Dominion machines.
This feature is fantastic because it allows them to confirm that their selections are accurate before submitting, like getting a grocery store receipt, except instead of looking at the cheese puff total, you're verifying that your presidential vote was accurate.
The machine switched it, and my printed ballot, I did not vote for these people. Talking to election workers and officials here in the district and making sure that this happens, that these ballots are correct.
Vote switching machine accusations against MTG have been circulating for a time. With the exception of being warmed, they resemble a conspiracy casserole that has been sitting in the refrigerator for much too long. You might recall that Dominion had sued Fox News for disseminating similar lies. That little legal snack cost Fox an incredible $787 million. How much money is wasted on incomplete projects? Perhaps you're wondering, what's the big issue? Well, it's just another wild theory, isn't it? It's problematic because spreading these conspiracy ideas is like putting sand in the Democratic cogs. It calls into question the entire voting process, which is essential to any country's effective governance. Everyone would begin to question the score, which would be like revealing the referee's adultery right before a big game. Like freshly made cookies, MTG has a fresh batch of complete nonsense. She's currently furious about the dangers of reading? You were right about what you heard. It seems that certain LGBT agendas have unintentionally included literature.
It's getting a lot of negative reviews online, which I guess is what happens when you tell your supporters that reading makes them gay. But I love that the woman who looks like a high school linebacker in a dress is telling other women to be feminine. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's just jealous none of the men in town want to take her to see Beetlejuice. I don't know.
Our favorite political chef, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has created a new dish for controversy. She claims that her book is getting bad reviews online because she convinced her fans that reading makes them gay. Reading merely served to strengthen one's intelligence, in my opinion. I've apparently been doing it wrong for the last 10 years. Kindly consider this poor idea before canceling your library card. This is making literacy experts and LGBTQ+ equality activists go nuts. They contend that it is more scientific to believe in the tooth fairy than MTG claims. Finding your sexual orientation is more complicated than reading 50 Shades of Grey and feeling the urge to paint your entire house rainbow on a whim. I'll tell you what, MTG's remark is not only stupid, but it could be harmful. Caution may cause unexpected gayness. She seems to be trying to label literature with a caution. If this type of discussion results in book bans and censorship, many people may become perplexed and wonder if their love of Harry Potter is secretly turning them into wizards. Sexual orientation is influenced by a complex interaction of social, environmental, and genetic factors, according to actual experts in the subject. It's not the same as reading a book that makes you sick. If it were so simple, we would have discovered the mystery of human sexuality long ago. This latest claim is in line with MTG's track record of making audacious claims that provoke debate. Her opinions on conspiracies are similar to those of a Mad Libs game. Then what? Is she trying to say that eating spaghetti is a sign of a Democrat?